Hey guys, it's Ahmed from Sanctum Squad. We've got Kazim here, and we've got the man Coree. I'm sure some of you guys heard about the ridiculousness of the top 64 switching to top 32. But Coree, what did you go and do at the UK Nationals this weekend? What did you do?
At the UK Nationals, I came 37th, 5 off top cut, fuming. But we ended up doing that with White Forest Fiendsmith, with a little twist of my own. I don't think anyone else has done this little list here, but yeah, decided to pick this deck. I've been running with this deck for a couple of months. My friend was telling me to at least need to stick to a deck because I was in between decks for quite a while. Then I ended up just becoming the White Forest guy at locals, and then I thought, you know what, stuck with it, let's just go all out, and yeah, that's what I did.
Nice. Is there anything you want to talk about before we get into the profile? Or do you want to do the profile first?
I'll just get into the profile and then
we'll do.
Come up and go for it.
Sure. Okay.
Alright, so I played 45 in the main. We'll start off with, so it was, let me do it this way so make things easier. So I played the Diabel package. This little package here allows you to basically just do an OTK at any point. Under Droll and also under Lib if you've got a chap already alive in grave. It allows you to literally kill your opponent within 2 summons, and then you can go battle phase. So it'd be a thing where you would get this summon, get this into battle, then enter into battle phase. If they have 2 monsters or any other monster, you just activate effect, pop another card, and then you would summon out the Book of Eclipse monster, which will flip their monster, attack over it for double piercing, and you have these 2 which will have 3k off that.
Yeah.
So that was a very nice little package that they added to it. I think this was what was needed for White Forest. The potential to OTK under 5 summons.
Yeah.
The deck needs to churn through a lot of engine to be able to at least get to that OTK spot. But it helped quite a lot, won me a good amount of my games. We then go into the White Forest main deck status. So it's 3 LZ, 1 Z Azamina, 3 Sylvie, 1 Rusia. I know there was a little contemplation between this one and the Stella. I was playing the Stella before. Originally I was playing the Rusia, but then I changed to a Stella because it was a thing where you're more like, maybe a lot of people main decking more Charmies, you're more likely to get hit with a Fua turn 1 than a Perulia. So Stella was mainly put into deck by a lot of people because they wanted a way around Joel and Perulia. But in my format, because I'm playing the Fiendsmith variant, I thought it'd be better to have the optimal amount of ways I can bring bodies to the board. So this was another reason why I did it. Also due to the fact that another name to shuffle out with Sylvie in graveyard is also always nice. You can do a thing where if you have both of these in grave and you get nibbed, you can literally shuffle back your 2 Fuge Synchros and then literally just make Moon and then just go on from there. So it performed quite well. Another thing is the also send effect as well. I remember I was hollowed with Diabel, I had Hollow, and he what's it called? He impulsed the Hollowed, and I had Wanted engraved, but there was no way to me to send Deception. So I had brought this back onto the field and then sent Deception for cost. And obviously I don't get the draw, however I did get Deception in the grave to do the Wanted play, so I obviously banished Wanted to put under it and draw 1, and I actually draw into Talents, which was very nice to have. Broken indeed. And then I went on to win that game.
I think your theory behind Rusia actually makes a lot of sense, but only because of the whole Fiendsmith concept.
Yeah.
I think if you're not playing Fiendsmith, I think Estella and Rusia are like just optional.
Yeah.
I think you've convinced me that Rusia is probably mandatory for the Fiendsmith version. Just because of also the Sylvie bounce back effect, just getting 2 bodies as follow-up Fiendsmith combo is pretty cool.
Yeah, because another thing was if you have another thing with Fiendsmith rotation, which a lot of people don't understand as well, is that if you do the Lacrima shuffle back in end phase, or when you do the Lacrima into Paradise setup, what you can also do is when you summon this as well, you can also use this and the Lacrima to make the Diabel star level 8. So these 2 and Lacrima, when they always shuffle back in end phase to bring back, or when you're dumping your card, you always have a level 4 tuner, level 4 synchro. Level 4 tuner and a non-level 4, so that allows you to combo as well. So that was for the main deck monsters for the one. I also played 2 field spell, 1 tails, and 1 sinful sword. I was originally playing 3 field spell, but then I thought 3 was kind of overkill, especially the fact that it's searchable. I think anything that's searchable in the deck, you don't need to optimize it. Another thing is, obviously, Droll is in every person's deck, so you'd rather, if you would activate this and then add, and then they change Droll, you're kind of stuck with majority of your adds. That's why I would say Sylvie's a better to have seen your hand than a field spell, and like I said, it's searchable. The 1 tails, obviously, some people play 2. I prefer 1. I think if you play it optimize. If you optimize it where you can always add it back to hand and send it that same turn and get it reset. So there's 3 purposes for it. Tail, Sinful Souls with the White Forest. Pardon?
I'm so glad you put it in.
I'm so happy. I at the last minute I was playing Jurishin, which is obviously the life point gainer. I thought because I'm main decking a lot more Charmies, it made sense that going forward there'd be some hands where I have more Charmies than I need, and so I ended up cutting 1 field but then playing this to go into do the Chimera line, so that I can at least repurpose my hand, and therefore the mulches are not literally glued into my hand. They can obviously be used for Witch and things like that, but I just thought it would be more optimal to get more value out of them by then using them as fodder and then drawing. And then the last one I played Woe's main deck. This card is cracked. The ability to just add follow-up at any point in time and also interact with your opponent. Of course, it does get hit with Ash and Impulse, but obviously in the times they don't do it, it works in favour. Also, I'm going first. I'm playing two thrusts in the main. Don't worry, that wasn't me. That was someone else.
So Naruto running to the venue at the moment with
a very broken suitcase. Yeah, but I'm also playing thrust in the main as well. So if I was to activate any of these cards effect and I get drolled, I can set this, or it could be a thing where if I normal summon, normal summon this and activate effect, something like that, send it, reset. The reset abilities by these are so good for your resource gain. Another thing you can also do is if they Perulia you in draw phase or something like that, and you have an LZ in hand, you can do thrust, set one of these 2, then send it for LZ, and then it resets. And obviously if you send this with thrust, you can't activate it, but if you send this with your White Forest cards, reset it, you can then activate it that turn. You just let that go fast. But yeah, that was the main deck for the White Forest packages. We then move on to the Diabell style package. So it was 1 Diabell, 3 Wanted, 1 Deception, and 1 Hollowed.
the best package in the game.
I would say is the best package in the game. The rotation allowed ability for you to be able to recycle majority of your cards. The fact that this can also search, this comes up in times. I believe in Pure, what they do is they would activate Hollowed, chain Wanted, then add this to the hand, and then send both of these 2 off for cost to summon Saint Azamina, which is another busted line. I'm not running the extra Azamina monsters because I thought with this one, Droll is so much in the format. I wanted a way to be able to continue playing even if I get Drolled. Hence why the multiple ways to summon bodies to the field. Also another body that allowed you to get bodies onto the field, obviously, Elza Azamina, which I can special, and it doesn't have to be, when you reveal the special, it doesn't have to be the exact same card you reveal. So then you can also bring out any of your other monsters as well. And then normal summon, above on your normal summon. But yeah, the Hallowed package was great. And then last for the main deck was 1 Fiendsmith, 1 Lacrima, and 1 Paradise. These are all soft bricks in your hand. You can still all be used in a way. Paradise, like I said, you can just dump off any of those ones. Lacrima, you can normal summon Lacrima, still go through the plays. And then what you can equip Requiem to any of these 2 and then send it for LZ and then still play off from there and then go off in combo. Engraver, you can just do activate Engraver to send it to Grave, add Paradise, and then you can pitch Paradise for whenever you're as in your White Forest monsters. And at the same time as doing this, your Desiree is now live because you've got 1 cost and 1 way to activate it. So even without even going through this line, after doing this, you're still your Paradise is now live, and then obviously the one that come up. So it's 26 engine and then 19 engine. It was 1 talents, 1 crossout, 1 call by, 1 foolish, and then two thrust and goat. Talents is talents. One of the best cards. I've done a couple of times where I've pitched the talents because they know it's at 1, and they'll activate a hand trap or hand spell. A hand trap, and then what I would do is I would just activate Diabells to add it back to hand, and just do talents look at hand or draw 2, whichever predicament I'm in. So the resource of being able to just shuffle back any of your spells back into rotation is so good. I called by 3 times in 2 turns, 2 times on my turn and then on my opponent's turn because I just reset it again. It's so cracked in that way. Foolish can get you into engine and non-engine. Foolish to break the board, you can dump Black Goat, and then in engine you can also dump Curse, which Curse obviously gets you Diabell, which gets you to Diabells, which is also at least a board under if you get hand trap. And then obviously I played the 2 thrust in the main. Like I said, Droll and things like that are always around, so having the ability to set cards, I can set this. I can also set the woes as well, which is another thing that also came up quite a lot.
The tails as well, and you can just send it.
And then send it as well. There's multiple ways. Like I said, because there's so many multis going around, I think main deck and thrust is a must. Because obviously talents can 9 times out of 10 not be live, but at least thrust can be to set you engine or non-engine if you want as well. That is for that. And then last night with the hand traps, which was 3 Ash, don't judge defeat.
Nah, I'm judging it.
3 Droll, 3 Fua, 2 Perulia, and 1.
It's basically my hand trap lineup except those last 3, but it's the same number.
Yeah, it's one of the things where obviously that if you add more hand traps, it reduces the amount of some haters over there in the back. It's okay, don't worry. I think because you're playing such a high deck count, and at the same time the hand traps that you have to be more optimal than just shuffling in a lot of hand traps and just hoping for the best. They have to be paired well. So Ash is obviously for the Fu against your opponent. Droll hits a lot of decks, Mitsu, Rigel, and all the other main ones as well. Veiler, the one Veiler is because it's searchable mid combo. You can also add it on your turn, but then if you believe your opponent's going to do something else, you can then summon this again, send a card and add Veiler, so you at least have an interrupt in hand.
Yeah.
I think the hard issue with this deck is that when you've created your board isn't really laid enough. So it would be a thing where you could just get. I got Dark Rulers today, yesterday,
wow.
And it was a thing where I was so confused about getting Dark Rulered. I got Dark Ruler before, and thankfully I had searched this before that, and I also had the Tails set. The fusion card effect set. So if I got Dark Ruler without having this in hand to at least stop my opponent from full comboing on his side without any interrupts, then I might have been cooked. But that's the good thing about this. The 2 Perulia. It was meant to be 3 Perulia. I was contemplating 3 Perulia and 3 Perulia, but then siding the cross out. But I thought it's always good to have another defensive card, an option. Also, in the same time, I played cross out due to the fact that going first and second Joel is an issue. It's a thing where we still have the ability to break the board, go in second, but if they draw us on our first search, then it's literally game over. There's no way to crack it. Hence why I main decked it rather than doing the Fuas. The 3rd Perulia. That is the main deck.
45, yeah?
45 on the main, yes. 26 engine, 19 non-engine.
And the extra first.
We would do extra first. I'll do a run through this.
Oh, shit. Yeah. It looked like you picked up your side then.
Part of it. So the extra deck was this in order. So it was the standard.
The 4.
The standard big 4.
The 4
the new edition. The Child is Arisen.
Yeah.
And then they also play in Doom and Case Angel. Those are the only synchros I
One
played.
of, one of my opponents saw me summon this, and they were like, "Wait, Poplar's in the extra deck now."
Yeah, Poplar is just making the rounds. He thought, let me just jump in on every
Every Poplar card is gonna be broken, isn't it?
Yeah, there's always something. This one has also the ability to spell and trap. This is mainly used to be able to sync on your opponent's turn, also to get resources back into the spell trap zone. Doom Vengeance is busted. I think the best removal from this deck, from this format, I think, is spell and trapping cards, so they can't get it back. If you spell trap Malice cards, they can't get it back into rotation. If you destroy them, they can still get it back into rotation. So I think spell trapping cards is very good. This format. I remember I spell trapped someone's Murukuma, and then just literally turn off everything. I've spell trapped Detonator as well. And you know that's a one-off, so they can't get it back. I think the only way someone else was able to get it back was when they dropped it.
You can send it with ice and things like that.
Yeah,
but like,
yes, that actually did happen. It happened yesterday. They sent it with Node, which was like, you know what, fairs. But then they have to try and get it back into rotation to get in. And then we go on to the fusions of the deck.
You cut Duration and Pep, didn't you?
Yeah, I cut Duration. I was playing it before, but then the card, like I said, because I increased the mulch count, I wanted a way to get rid of the cards.
You wanted to put this next card in, didn't you?
Yeah, so I ended up playing Chimera. It's absolutely phenomenal. When I had this as a backup plan, it helped so much. Like I said, once you've cracked the board of a White Forest board, it's hard to, this variant of White Forest is hard to try and get back into rotation. The main way people were usually using this is what they would do, they'd add LZ back from graveyard by summoning one of the synchros, the light tuners, and then using that same LZ. So that means they'll end up burning their follow up for next turn. So like I said, with the Perulias in hand, which happened quite a lot, sending those, also a nib token sometimes as well can be sent as well to be able to just clear your board and have that. Other fusions was the Omni and then the Searcher. Nothing else more to be said. They were absolutely phenomenal throughout the day. The double damage came from this as well, and yeah, that was amazing. We're then gonna go through the last package, which was the Fiendsmith, which was obviously that, and then obviously Big Man Caesar. I didn't play sequence. My concept behind the Fiendsmith variant of this side was I was never making Desiree. The concept was to always make High King and then have Lacrima and Requiem Engrave for Paradise to be sent. A lot of decks nowadays can't deal with Caesar and plus trap. So
Caesar's broken this format.
Yeah, Caesar's format is broken. The only thing you got to worry about is obviously when they decide to open X, send aggregator. But then other than that, 9 times out of 10, if you do this play, you sort of also have like hand traps or follow up as well. So that was the play to do that. It came in clutch, beautiful. I remember one time I was playing Malice and they impulsed one of my starters. So literally all I had to do is I revealed Elza Azamina to special it, normal summoned a hand trap, and then just comboed off from there. And then they did that and they couldn't beat it. So that was very good as well. And then the last thing in my extra deck was SP. SP was generic. I think it's very good. The fact that you can have the ability to summon so many like fusions and spell cards, fusions and synchros, the live banish is always live. But yeah.
I realized with you know how we were discussing about like the whole Baguska, like outing Baguska thing. Obviously for me, because I was playing the pure, you told me about like Medusa's Artemis, and like you have to climb into that just so it's easy to get to SP to banish it.
Yeah.
Because without it, you have to like throw so many resources. So you either have to make a synchro, then put another body on, and you'd usually go for a level 8, but instead you have to go SP to banish it. And at that point, you probably have no plays. I just realized you play Lynx in this deck anyway, so like it's probably easier to get into SP.
To get into SP, yeah. There's literally multiple ways for you to get into synchros, kind of very easy as well. Especially with the fact, obviously, with the Rusia, you can always get 2 bodies on board, even after resolution. Like having Rusia and Sylvie both in rotation in the grave to be able to shuffle them back to come back is always mint to have. Then the side, obviously, we don't like Malice, so we play 3 of those MVPs, 3 Meows, the 3rd copy of Perulia, 2 Bistjuls. Because it's a Nationals, I wanted to respect Rogue, so back row hate, and then the last 3. Mystery was Gnomes, Symbol, and Fiend. My round 10 game, I was against Malice. I double meowsed him, and then he looked at my hand, ripped out my only non-engine. I went with LZ, summon, sent. I only had 2 cards left in hand. I normal summoned Sylvie, he Malice and mirrored it. So I only had 2 of these in hand, Sylvie and LZ on field. So I'm like, well, I can't really do much. But then I realized that with Lancers you can set them. So I set one of the Lancers, went into to level 6, sent this for cost, add field spell, and then OTK'd from there. So that was clutch. I completely forgot about this, and when someone told me about you can actually set these, it's actually busted. But yeah, that was Subversion, MVP. I
really wanted to squeeze it in last minute, you know.
It is so busted, the fact where you can just literally in-house. What you would do is usually go in second, you would activate Wanted, then Diabell Star. And then when you activate the Diabell Star effect 9 times a day, people won't negate it because they presume that you're gonna just be setting Deception. So they let it go through, and then when they see you just drop this and like that, then they're a bit shaky because now it's like, okay, I need to deal with this. When you activate this, it pushes it impacts them to allow them to use one of their omnis. So if you get Mitsu, they have to do like a prayers tribute, or they have to do the omni. I forgot what the trap was called. Or detonator. You target the detonator. They would always have to use like detonator pop to summon Eclipse. That's fine. They've done all of that. They've baited out an omni through Mitsu. They've activated a GWC or something like that to get away around it. And that's all it needed to do. Then once it goes to the grave, because if you've wanted, you can just put it back to the bottom of the deck, then draw 1, and then you've replaced that one card you've used that you sent with Diabell Star, and then you continue on from there. Then the traps was Gnomes and Symbol. Symbol was for practically any deck that just wanted to try and Link Climb or Ritual Climb, I should say.
To be fair, that trio of one-offs, this was skill drain for me. And like the only place I could think about squeezing this in was for skill drain, but I just opted for skill drain at the end.
Yeah, I think skill drain is also a nice little tech card that you can also put in there as well. I also wanted another way of. I wanted the card that I can use more than once. Obviously, with bringing it back with Diabell Star is also another thing you can do. But like things like this one here, you can also. I've done a thing where I've done a board and I had Foolish, and I just dump this with Foolish, and then use the graveyard effect against my opponent. Or you can literally thrust to set it, because I'm playing main deck thrust. Symbol obviously just stops Malice, they can't Link Climb, and this as well. The Bestials was obviously for Mitsu, just to be able to...
Mitsu seem really good.
Yeah, they're very good. Especially a lot of people play Mitsu Rizal, and they would only play one Mirakumu, so I'd literally just... One of these was for that, and the other one was mainly for Eclipse Twins. So just stop the grind game, because obviously our grind game was actually immense, especially with the Fiendsmith. At the end phase, you do the Requiem, and then the end phase you can do Sylvie, bounce back one of them to add LZ back to hand. So you end up with LZ in hand, Fiendsmith on field, draw for turn. You potentially have hollowed add back to shuffle back to bring, so you then have a spell for LZ to send as well. But yeah, so that was the side. That was my motion through it. Yeah, so that was White Forest. So we came 37th. My best top, I think from the previous, I'm starting to pull up in the world that I would like to see. I think my previous one, I was at the UK Open for Brotherhood. I came 13th of that one, and then for the YCS Birmingham, I came 135th out of 2,000 plus players. So I'll just remember the name. I'm coming up there. You'll see me there soon.
Definitely. What do you think is making the difference right now for you?
For me, just the consistency on the deck. Thankfully, this deck hasn't really been hitting that much, and it's flying under a lot of people's radar.
I think it's really poorly represented. I've said it before in the previous deck profile of mine. It's really poorly represented.
Yeah, to be fair, I think there's no right or wrong way to play. Well, there are some options. There are some in deck options to play. I can admit there are some right and wrong ways to play. But as far as people saying Fiendsmith is better or Azamina is better, I don't think there's specifically no overlaying factor, barring the only thing that reason I play the Fiendsmith is because obviously draw is everywhere.
I think you're absolutely spot on. I think both variants are, it's like Mitsu and Mitsu Pure and like Mitsu Fiendsmith. Like,
Yeah.
you can't argue with either one of them.
Yeah.
Both have their pluses and minuses. I think there are certain cards that you have to play in each engine. Like if you were playing like one LZ and two LZ as a Mina, I think you got issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, congrats on making it actually theoretically in top cut until they switched it to top 32.
Yeah.
And even then, you're only 5 spaces away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Any shout outs, any people you want to mention?
Got a couple of shout outs. Shout out to Ahmed behind the camera. You know him. He helped me a lot. We did quite a few, that person there. We did a lot of theory and testing over the last couple of weeks to try and understand and optimize the list. We ended up going 2 different ways of how we do our list, but at the same time, like I said, I don't think there's any right or wrong ways. I looked at his list. I don't think there was anything changed. Obviously, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! At the same time, there's a little bit of luck based into it. But like I said, I don't regret changing this. I appreciate obviously the love, because we actually met randomly just via.
It was crazy.
The way how we just met up and started talking randomly.
It was Brotherhood Regional. I knew of a person that came, just missed out on Top Cut.
Again.
I know, yeah. And well, if like, fortunately one of us topped, which made the contact. Yeah, went into a random DB game, and it just happened to be you. And we just started testing from there. To be fair,
and just went in there.
I personally think with the main decks, if you ignore like hand trap choices, because I think hand traps are always personal preference. I think some are obvious. I think the main deck choices. I think if you're playing Fiendsmith, I think the engine, the way you've set up your engine, is pretty much how I would do it. Exactly how I would do it. To be fair,
I think it was carbon copy. Obviously, barring the 3 Fiendsmith stuff. Actually, I don't think there was a difference.
I'm gonna record my pure list, even though I crashed out. But I think a lot of people have been asking for an updated list. Unfortunately, it just didn't perform at this event. But it's been performing with every single OTS and every single event up until now. Sometimes it's just unfortunate, but I'm glad one of us managed to represent. Any other shout outs?
Yeah, shout out Europa Gaming, best locals in London / the world. Shout out Khaled. He's currently doing the work right now in top 32.
Somewhere in that vicinity over there.
Shout out to the London lads that came up. Rocco, James, Kelly, Josh Kelly as well. He's also doing the grind in there as well. Chandra, all the goats from London that came up. Koda, D-High, and everyone else from Europa as well. Shout out to the missus out there. Allow me to play. No, I'm joking. Shout out to the missus and everybody else who supported me, allow me to continue on. But yeah, maybe that's it.
Yep, amazing. Congrats to you again.
Thank you very much.
And maybe we'll see you more on the channel. Take care.
Bye.